when it comes to information, the most important thing that you got to do is know how to decode it, because you do have a boogeyman, a historical boogeyman that wears the cloak of catastrophic events. Take the end of the world, for instance, destruction of the earth and all life on it. You had cataclysm after cataclysm, ice age after ice age, flood after flood, firestorm after firestorm. And if any of this happened, no population would really be able to rebuild itself. How could you get the population that you got in China if this world ended a bunch of times? All the fertility in the world is not going to bring us to 9 billion if the earth was completely destroyed multiple times. It sounds good when it's coming from sources that are publicized, but when you start adding common sense to it, you get the biggest out of the 5 W's. How? So pay attention to how you hear, because while the physical event may not be true, the sociological event is true. How many times has the world changed? How many times has the Godhead changed? History changed? Currency changed? Yeah, the world ended multiple times. The whole earth was covered in this or that type of flood. Whoever the superpower was in different ages, that was the flood. That was the storm. That was the event. And right now, if we're just talking money, we really in the time of the dragon. You know, now the dragon is sweeping the earth. So it's about how you hear. They talk about an ice age, coming. And you'll notice too, on a historical level, the goalpost has been moved so many times in regards to this. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how many times the goalpost has been moved and adjusted. Common sense is just like me putting on this seatbelt. It's just like it. You got to be strapped in with your wisdom, your common sense, your faculties, your ability for critical thinking. You got to be strapped. You got to be buckled up, because we're being driven toward ages and times in history. We're being driven towards it as an entire collective, but not everybody has their seatbelt buckled. Not everybody is buckled in. Not everybody is strapped in. So a lot of people will be ejected from their sense of security. They will have a head-on collision with the reality that no one has been raptured, no one has been swept up to heaven, and no one has been sent back to tell us what happens on either side of what we call eternity. The people who have been in charge continue to be in charge, etc. And that reality, when it's realized in different ages, it can be what we call the cold, hard facts. Like an ice age, cold. It's frozen in place. The top 2% and the top 1% are quote unquote frozen in place. And everybody, the rest of the 98% or the 99%, they're frozen in place. So yeah, we are in an ice age. A sociological one, a spiritual one. You got to watch what you say now more than ever, and watch how you say it. And really the secret to it, if you want the real secret, you could talk about anything. Long as you don't talk about being an opponent of anything per se. A lot of people get in trouble when they start naming names and when they start, doing that kind of thing, and they're talking about we're going to take this down and we have to, as a people, do, you know, that can go wrong on mad levels because it's insurrectionist, you know, insurrectionist jargon, and there's certain parts of your language that you got to be careful for, because you will look like a cyber terrorist if you're talking a certain way. It's not the topic, it's the nuance in how you're talking about it. That's the nuance. The nuance is in the how. So that's just a little food for thought for everybody who has a cause. This is why temperance has to come with knowledge, because without temperance, your knowledge can go to waste if you're trying to dress yourself as a revolutionary when you're really just supposed to be a master teacher. Let what you talk about be revolutionary enough without you necessarily taking a side. See, the power of speaking in an unbiased way is a gift that is given once learned. Nobody's born with it. Nobody's born with inherent magnanimity. Nobody is. Everybody is polarized. Society polarizes you while you're still in the womb. You hear the vibrations from the outside of your mother's womb, and you hear what's going on. You can hear, you might not be able to interpret any words or language, but you can hear vibrations of argument. You can hear vibrations of dishes breaking. You can hear vibrations of your mother crying when there's more month than money. You can feel that stuff inside the womb. So right from that moment, polarization takes place. And so magnanimity becomes an effort from that point on. And this is going to spill over into how you conduct yourself as an individual. And yes, there are times when you have to put your head in the sand, but it only comes down to that when you're doing your meditations and when you have to manifest things and when you're deciding to live in your own world within the context in the midst of this world. For instance, everybody can be going through a recession except for you, if you're really focused on what you're focused on. But delving into that aspect of it, we'll do that in another video, probably even the next one. And of course, it's rehashed and repeated information, but this is for the purpose of you staying encouraged and staying level-headed and knowing that not everything on TV is real. Not everything on a screen is real. Not everybody that you see in your regular life is real. They may not act real. They may not, you know what I mean? They may not feel real. They may not seem real. They might be straight up biological clones. But even more so, more importantly, the thing that you can prove is whether or not they're mental, energetic, and spiritual clones, or as we say in this language, bots.